Have you heard of BYD? For the longest time, they were probably the biggest car brand you've never heard of. Well, that's all changed. Today, we're going to dive into the absolutely wild story of how a company that was once literally a laughingstock completely rewrote the rules to become the new king of electric vehicles. I mean, just look at the 2024 numbers. They don't lie. BYD pulled in a staggering $108 billion in revenue, officially leapfrogging its biggest rival. Yep, the world has a new leader in the EV space. So how on earth did they do it? But here's the crazy part. Just a few years ago, this was what everyone thought of them. Industry experts, journalists, you name it. They were laughing. People called their cars cheap knockoffs. They questioned the quality. They weren't just dismissed, they were openly mocked.
So, that's the big question, isn't it? How did the company that was the punchline of a joke become the dominant force in the entire EV market? What was their secret? All right, let's break it down.
You know, this story doesn't even start with cars. It starts with something way less glamorous. It all begins with this brilliant, kind of counterintuitive strategy built on a foundation of just being incredibly frugal. So, picture this. It's 1995. The founder, Wang Chuanfu, sees the whole battery industry chasing the new, expensive thing, lithium-ion. But instead of following the crowd, he does the exact opposite. He goes after the old nickel-cadmium market that all the big players were leaving behind. And instead of spending a ton on fancy machines, he used China's low-cost labor. Smart, right? By 2002, that bet paid off, big time. BYD was one of the biggest battery suppliers in the world. And this right here? This is where his genius really shines. See, to make batteries, you need these super expensive, totally dust-free clean rooms. But Wang just asked a really simple question. Why are we cleaning the whole factory when only the battery needs to be clean? His solution was this, a simple, cheap, sealed glove box. It was basically a mini clean room for every single worker. This one simple idea was a complete revolution. It slashed their production costs by a mind-blowing 70% compared to their rivals in Japan. I mean, this wasn't just a small improvement. It was a total game changer that let BYD just dominate the market on price. Okay, so with their costs way down, BYD turned its attention to a different problem, one of the biggest, scariest problems plaguing the early EV industry, safety. So a lot of early EVs used these powerful NMC batteries. The problem, if you got in a bad crash or they got too hot, they had this terrifying habit of, well, catching fire and exploding. So BYD developed their Blade battery. It used a totally different, way more stable chemistry, designed from the ground up for one thing, to be incredibly safe. And to prove it, they put it through the nail penetration test. It's just as brutal as it sounds. You literally drive a steel nail right through the battery. Now, other batteries would just erupt in flames, hitting over 500 degrees Celsius. The BYD Blade battery, it just sat there. No smoke, no fire. It barely even got warm. Just incredible. And get this, here's the ultimate proof that their tech was the real deal. It got so good, so undeniably superior, that their biggest rival, Tesla, basically had to throw in the towel. They're a customer now. They buy batteries from BYD to put inside their own cars. Just think about that for a second. All right, so they're cheaper and they've got this super safe battery tech. What's next? They set their sights on conquering their home market in China. And honestly, their strategy was a total masterclass. First, a super quick explainer. A BEV is a pure electric car. That's it. A PHEV, or a plug-in hybrid, has a small battery for your daily commute, but it also has a gas engine for long trips, so zero range anxiety. And this little distinction right here, it's absolutely critical to understanding how BYD won. So here's where it gets really smart. Look at the Chinese market. Most foreign brands, they only focused on the wealthiest people in those top two tiers. But BYD's affordable hybrids were absolutely perfect for the massive middle market. That's nearly 500 million people, where charging stations were hard to find. They unlocked a giant market that their rivals couldn't even touch. And the results? Well, they speak for themselves. I mean, just look at this chart of the best-selling electric and hybrid cars in China. It is just a sea of BYD. They have 5 of the top 6 spots. They completely and totally dominated their home turf because they offered the right product to the right people. So, as we wrap this up, what can we really learn from this incredible journey? Well, BYD's rise gives us a pretty clear blueprint for success, and it really boils down to 3 powerful lessons. Okay, lesson number 1. before you go chasing the big flashy dream, you've got to build your cash cow. Wang Chuanfu didn't start with sexy cars. Nope. He started with the boring but super profitable business of batteries. That steady stream of cash is what paid for his real ambition to build a car empire.
Lesson number 2 is that real innovation isn't always about some super complex new technology. Sometimes it's just about making things radically simpler. That clean box is the perfect example. The smartest solution is often the cheapest one that just plain works.
And finally, lesson 3. When people mock you, when they criticize your work, you've got a choice. You can give up, or you can pick up every single brick they throw at you and use it to build your castle. BYD used all that early mockery as fuel to perfect their design and their technology. And that really brings us to the final thought. The company's name, BYD, actually stands for Build Your Dreams. Their whole story proves that with some frugal innovation, a focus on technology, and just unbelievable resilience, it's possible to turn a dream that everyone laughs at into a reality that changes the world. The question is, what will it take for you to build yours?